All right, beautiful.
I was just gonna say, there's definitely some familiar faces.
Right? Rachel is here. Hey, it's a party for sure. Okay, how often are you intentionally designing with group dynamics in mind? Sessions, trainings, workshops, etc. All the time, rarely, in the middle, sometimes yes, sometimes no, it depends. Be honest. How often do you design with group dynamics in mind? Okay, it looks like we're pretty good here. It's just Said and I are kind of like towards the end of the slide, Said. So brain on, eyes open, and let's learn everything we can today from Kat. Um, and before we kick it off, the session is being recorded like all of our events. It's going to land on YouTube. And want to make sure that our community keeps learning with us and from us, even if they're probably sleeping now on the other side of the world. And I'm very excited to have Katerina, Jacoby with us from Mischief Maker today. We just talked like, when did we meet, and since when do I know her, and all that. And we've known each other now for probably over 3 years, Kat. And we had several collaborations, excellent facilitator. Every time I get the opportunity to snag her for a session, I'm doing it. And she's so graciously accepting my invitation all the time. She is an excellent facilitator, has been working online, offline, in person, and also everything in between, hybrid, as a program manager and facilitator at Mischief Makers. And their mission is to help startups and NGO and educational institutes to solve their challenges, smoothen their processes, and skill up in the ever-evolving new world of work. It comes with a lot of expertise in the world of entertainment, events, education, creativity, all around amazing human. And so happy that you have decided to teach us some more tips and tricks about group dynamics, Kat. So thanks everyone for voting in. I'll just give the talking stick to Kat so she can take it away. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. That was such a lovely intro. And I feel like now probably the first couple of my slides are redundant because you already summarized it so well. But I'm just gonna go ahead and share my screen again. Also, very warm welcome from my end. Super nice to see some familiar faces, but also lots of new faces. So I'm excited to meet you all in a bit more. So as Anna Maria already said, I'm Kat, or Katrina. Head of comms and facilitator at Mischief. I'm based in Amsterdam, but originally from Germany, and love word jokes. So if there's any along the way that you have installed, they're very welcome here. So feel free to share them. And well, Anna Maria already gave a quick summary of who we are at Mischief. So I'm not going to dive a lot into it. Maybe you've already checked us out before anyway. And yes, I know that some of you know us as well. So just to summarize, well, this is what it also says on our website. We're a future of work agency, and we're really working with individuals, teams, and organizations to help them thrive in the new world of work, or in the ever-evolving world of work. So looking into supporting them with trainings, but looking also into their culture, really unraveling their ways of working, and just seeing how things can be done smoother and more engaging and just more human, because we really want to bring that kind of human angle to working and seeing people as their full selves in the workplace. And we do this through trainings, offsites, programs, events, whatever you can think. Anytime a group comes together, we can be there. And we know that mischief is quite like the English word that not everyone is using all the time. So it stands for play, creativity, kind of doing things a bit differently, funny business. So we're here to shake things up and bring the mischief. And when we work with teams or clients, we always have this disclaimer that kind of feeds into this mischievous approach to say, don't hire us if you think seriously awesome results require serious behavior. And yeah, what that really thanks. What that really means is that we're advocates of the power that positivity can have on your group and on your group dynamics and the quality of work that you're doing. So if you're smiling and laughing and just having fun while you're working, it's obviously not cheating, but it's actually a real booster of the quality of the work that you're doing. So yeah, definitely in any mischievous experience, get ready for this to be an enjoyable experience while getting those knowledge and learnings in. Sound good? Yes. Thanks for the sound effects. And well, just to touch upon it, to make the point that mischief can come into any type of organization around the world. We've worked with small businesses to massive corporates in all sorts of sectors. So just to say that this playfulness approach and bringing this like humanness is really a thing that every team and every organization can use. So yeah, if you want to jump on board, people appreciate it. So go for it and bring those mischief sparkles. This is our favorite GIF, kind of representing who we are. But enough about us. I would love to hear a bit more about you. So kicking off with a little check-in. Anna Maria already had those lovely flashcards in the beginning to get a bit of an energy sense and how you think about group dynamics. And what I really wanted to know from you is what's a group that you're part of that you really like or that makes you feel just good? And you can put that answer of yours in the chat. So what's a group that you really like or that you're a part of that makes you really feel good? See L&D Shakers, improv group, the Butter Community core team, a dance community, super nice, Mischief Makers community. Thanks, Julia. Shakers, nice, super nice answers. And is anyone keen to share why? What does make you feel good in that community or in that group? Feel free to unmute. Why do you feel good in that group that you just shared?
I can share. I have an interesting setup for the session today, so I'm not alone.
Hello.
The reason I wrote Shakers and Mischief, I think, because you have like-minded people around, and you just my favorite word. You feel the vibe, and you spread it all over, and you just enjoy it. It's not a work. It's not a facilitation. It's a joy within facilitation.
Nice. So a shared interest and a shared kind of approach and vibe that you mentioned. Nice. Thank you, Valeria. Anyone else who would like to share why they love the group that they're part of? I see in the chat from Jan, not afraid to make mistakes. It's great. So it's really like a safe environment. That's super nice. Let's see, learn and having fun together. Anyone else? Last thoughts? Why do you love to be part of that group? Bit shy to unmute everyone. That's all right. Crickets. I see lots of stuff coming into the chat, so that's great. You survived lockdown together, so yeah, a shared experience. That's a big one.
You mentioned chat as the first channel to contribute, Kat. So
yeah,
everyone's like, you said chat, okay. There we go.
No, but it's all good. I appreciate both. So yeah, but super nice. Thank you for sharing those points and groups already. And I think there's already a few elements that we can see that they have in common. It's just like a comfortable space where you feel seen or heard or maybe respected, and you have like a shared approach to whatever it is that you're doing in the group. And yeah, I was curious to hear and to kind of all put us in this mindset, because we're here to talk about groups. So it's good to also sometimes think back of like, okay, yeah, we want groups to be all great and smooth and comfortable, but what does it make to have this group feel that way? So through our own reflection, sometimes you can already find like some good answers there. So I hope that gave you a little speedy moment of reflection. But I'm going to take you back into my deck and into the session. So thanks for checking in with me. I have prepared a quick I do odd for the session. I know that in the Butter community, there's lots of facilitators and experts already. So who does know I do odd? Maybe give me a quick thumbs up. I see lots of thumbs. Great. Nice. Then I'm going to speed through this as well. So we really love the IDOR tool. We use it in almost any of our sessions because it's just so handy to get everyone on the same page. So in case you don't know it, it's an acronym that stands for intention, desired outcomes, agenda, roles, rules, and time. And it, like I just said, it summarizes what we have going on, why we're here, and just brings everyone on the same page. So I've prepared this for us. And in this session today, we're all here because, we want to learn and exchange, insights on how to navigate group dynamics. I would love for you to leave the session, so as desired outcomes, with an understanding of facilitation and the role of a facilitator in groups. We're going to talk, I want you to understand more the stages of group development and the behaviors that you can spot in these stages. Tools and techniques to support group development. So really understanding, if I see a group in one stage, what can I maybe support them with? So those are all things that I would love to reach in this session with you. And to do so, we're almost through with the check-in and kind of intro. I'm going to take you in a quick context piece, and then we're going to explore Susan's model. I'm going to introduce you to Susan in a bit. Talk about interventions and a bit of an interactive exercise, and then wrap up and check out. Sound good? Yeah? Great. I'm here as your facilitator together with Ana Maria, your participants, but I'm sure future facilitators as well. So kind of playing with those two hats as we go. I would love if you can turn your videos on just to get that human feel in this online space. If it's not possible due to bandwidth or any other things, it's okay. You can self-assess your mic, so feel free really to unmute in between. Give me those ahs and ohs and quick reactions. It's very welcome. And then finally, the tennis ball. Maybe you've also heard of this before. Can somebody tell me what the tennis ball attitude stands for? Feel free to unmute.
All the Mischief Makers in the call know.
Yes, go for it.
Jan knows it as well. Ellie knows it as well. Yay!
The more you put in, the more you get out. Yes, thank you, Jan. Exactly. So really, that's at the core, and that's what I would love to encourage you in this session. Share your insights, share your thoughts, your questions. This is how we can get the most out of it. And there's so many great brains in this room. So collectively, we can really exchange it, build the most insight basically in this session. And we have an hour, or now 45 minutes. So ready to go, everyone? Give me a thumbs up. Yes, brains. Great, cool. So as I said, quickly checking in on facilitators, because yes, we're talking about groups, but we are talking about kind of dynamics and how to navigate them. So facilitators come into play to kind of help groups navigate. And I'm sure there's lots of facilitators in the room, or people who maybe don't call themselves that, but they're more like hosts. How do you define your role as a facilitator? Like, what are some key responsibilities that you feel you take on, or that a facilitator or host takes on? And again, feel free to unmute, but also you're welcome to use the chat if you want to answer. What is the role of a facilitator working with groups? I'm gonna give it a moment. The role of a facilitator. What do they do? Nice. So we see there's an invitation. Oh, now a lot coming in. Now the chat is like bouncing, and I'm like, what? Where do I start? But there's some planning involved on activities. There is a notion of leading people in conversation, guiding them towards results, and making sure that priorities are maybe put in place. There's an element of inclusion, so making sure everyone is heard. Energy, focus, great buzzwords, yes. Orchestrating, I like that, Said. Can you tell me a bit more what you mean with orchestrating?
I just like the word because somebody mentioned it. It's yeah, like orchestrating a room or a group of people, and it kind of makes sense, and I find it a great analogy.
Yeah, it is.
You're not playing an instrument yourself, so
no. Yeah, but you're a bit of a conductor in that sense to bring people together and to make sure, maybe also with the idea like everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet, or like we're all looking at the same thing. Great. What else we have? Set the pace, bringing people together to share ideas, insights, connections, interrupt habits that hold people back. Nice, Rachel. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Sure, this is one of my favorites to say to people, because sometimes you don't even know what's holding you back in a session. And those powers of observation and listening that a facilitator had might be like a way to help people get past the things that are holding their creative ideas back.
Totally, really nice. I love that. Yeah, never had it put in that word or on those words, but that's a great way to put it.
Interrupt really is also. Oh, sorry. Yeah, as I interrupt you, interrupt is also a great word for that, because it's not like you're imposing something on someone. You're, with the techniques and methods that you use, you're actually creating this organic, I think, interruption of their status quo thoughts.
Yeah. And you also have that permission in a way, right? So you are kind of brought in to have that maybe overview view and to spot things where you say like, okay, no, here, let me interrupt. This is maybe something that we want to change or do differently or reiterate. Really nice. Thank you for this input. And I think what we can already see from this is that there is a lot of different things that the facilitator can do and does and brings value for groups. How we always define it in a nutshell is that we believe that facilitation and facilitators as roles are kind of the secret sauce to making any type of gathering really work. So having a facilitator there means having a person that is leading the group from a point A to a point B, while making sure that everyone is keeping on track, guiding them through steps, making sure everyone can contribute, and we keep our goal in mind. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be a professional or full-time facilitator. It sometimes also just means pointing out someone in the group who's going to take on that role, who's going to be the timer or like make sure that we stick to the agenda. So it can also be a lower barrier entry to taking on that role, and then of course we can scale it depending also on the context. So facilitator is basically a fancy word for hosts. And well, you can facilitate in so many different spaces and places. We've been doing lots of online, offline, and as hybrid work as well. So really, as a facilitator, also thinking of like, okay, people are coming together in different forms and spaces, contexts. How can I make sure I work with that space? And yeah, cater it for the group and for the purpose that I have in mind. And to add a last sparkle to this, what we really kind of reshape facilitation or facilitators into is that we think they're kind of the new world of work architects. So yeah, we have the power to really make people rethink the way they work or the way they approach things, and making sure that collaboration is just smoother and more inclusive or reaches new levels and so on. So by really injecting that facilitative power into all sorts of groups and places, we can make the world a better place. This sounds very cheesy, but shape the world into just a more human and enjoyable space. So yay you for kind of taking that on. I think we hold a lot of power. So thanks for doing the work that you're doing already. But let's talk about groups now. Sorry, I feel like a bit of a waterfall right now. I promise I'll give the mic back to you in a second. But we already put it in our promotion a bit, like talking about every group is different, right? So that is obviously very true. We have very many individuals coming together. So there's no way that every composition of people is the same, and depends also on how long they know each other, etc. So while that's very true, there's also some commonalities that can be observed in groups and how they shape and how they develop. So that's what we want to dive into in this session, to really uncover some of the things that work well and that have proven to be kind of successful in different group stage developments, and some that tend to be pitfalls. Sound good? Are you all ready to be the new world of work architect working with different groups? Let's go. So I'm gonna introduce you to Susan. Susan is a researcher. She's amazing. We really like her, and she's basically looked into all sorts of different groups. So from families, sports teams, of course, organizational teams, etc. And saw or observed how they develop. And she invented her integrative model of group development. So talking about all the stages that a group goes through, and also the level of maturity the group reaches throughout those 5 stages. Has anyone here already heard of this model before? Maybe give me a quick wave or a thumbs up. Thumbs down, also good. Okay, some have, some haven't. Great. So if you have, this might be a bit of a refresher. If you haven't, it's all new. So both good, and we can deepen or refresh. So I'm going to walk you through it, and I'm very curious to hear step by step also what you think of the stages and what your experience has been. So the first stage that she defined is called dependency and inclusion. So here I want to pause and hear, what do you think happens in this stage when a group or team kind of first comes together? What kind of behaviors can you see in this stage? And please unmute if you want to share what's happening in stage 1. Yeah, or use the cue. Great, shout out on my mouth.
Is it dependency in the sense that the team members are dependent on what the host is going to say or how they are going to lead the session? Is that in that sense?
Yeah, could be. I mean, it very much depends on the context. So if we're now talking, it sounds a bit like when you're saying like we're coming together in a meeting or a workshop, then that could happen. If you're thinking more of like, okay, a group of people that will collaborate together, but they meet for the first time, or they're being put on a project together, or you're meeting like a client, or have to collaborate. What happens? What are the behaviors that we can observe? So I think, Said, you said awkwardness, like on the first day of school. Totally, yeah. A bit of like, I don't know what to say. I want to be kind of perceived well, but yeah, I'm not sure what the others are up to. So a bit like testing the waters.
Yeah, some are very introvert and in the back, and some are very like coming up and taking the stage. So there is some adaptation to be done from the very beginning to include everyone, so that everyone feel safe and not in this uncertainty. I don't know what to say.
Uncertainty, yeah, exactly, totally. Like that uncertainty is a great word to describe the stage. There's a lot of like openness, and like we don't know the kind of social etiquette yet, and like how we want to behave, how we should behave. Some people are maybe naturally more out there, and some are less. So yeah, definitely all of what you said. And I still see in the chat there's a need for dependency and inclusion. Rachel, can you tell me a bit more?
That was just a question.
This is
I was just trying to
said.
frame it.
Yeah.
Are we looking at it as a need for dependency and inclusion, or is it the action of dependency and inclusion? I'm just trying to, from what group's perspective we're looking at it. Is it from the group's perspective or from the facilitators' perspective?
Right. Good question. I think you can almost see it from I would say almost from both. Like it's the title of the stage. It's what the group relies on a lot, I would say. There's a need for inclusion, but there is a very strong dependency on other people in the room. So how I would describe it really is like the stage of getting to know each other. Maybe some people hold back a bit about themselves, like not really truly being themselves because they don't know how it's being perceived, might be a bit more reserved, and everyone is trying to make it really nice. Like you don't want to step on anyone's toes, right? It's like this funny thing where also like if you're in a company, people are like, okay, shall we have lunch together? Yeah, sure, let's have lunch. Where do you want to have lunch? Yeah, I don't know, what do you think? And then it goes back and like, what do you think? I know you decide. Because we just want to have a nice time and don't go in any uncomfortable direction. So that happens a lot, but then there might also be a person kind of stepping up as a leader, like maybe more extroverted person, more confident person who's just not really appointed, but who's just like, okay, I'm gonna take the lead here. Nobody else is doing it, so let me just do it. People looking for a sense of belonging and guidance, and then there's someone who's doing it. So all of that can be kind of observed here. And then when we move on into stage 2, this is what we call resistance and conflict. So people get a bit tired of the stage 1. They don't really get why there's suddenly this one leader. Nobody asked for that person to be the leader. Maybe they think like, oh, I have my own ideas. I'm not just like this sheep in this big herd. I want to contribute. So there's a bit resistance and resistance to towards that leadership. There might be more discussion going on, sharing ideas. So this notion of conflict doesn't necessarily mean like fighting or crazy outrage, but it's more of a discussion and disagreement happening. And of course, people don't really like conflict. It's confronting. So sometimes groups go back to stage 1 because that feels way more comfortable. So that can happen at any time in this model also, that while a group reaches a second or a stage after, they can always go back because they don't work on how the group is developing in that stage. Does that make sense so far? I'm seeing lots of action in the chat, so I'm trying to read and speak. Great. And I'm going to continue walking you through, and then we're going to work a bit on this as well. So at the moment, we're just looking at what's happening in each stage. And yeah, if you have questions, feel free to interrupt me. So whilst this second stage doesn't maybe feel super nice, it's actually a really, really good and necessary stage to move through. Because if we really take this stage to reflect, share different opinions, etc., this can be super productive and really the foundation of what you build on in the following stages, which is trust and structure. So again, back to you, what do you think happens here? What behaviors do you see in this third stage, trust and structure?
Well, I would say that people get to know each other a little bit more, so they understand how they trust each other, either by building relationships or by getting things done. And that also provides a sense of a structure, but also a stability and predictability. And then they can also start to perform a little bit more safely or just more comfortable.
Yes, super nicely put. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, very well said.
But maybe they also start to create those structures themselves in order to optimize things. So
Yes.
maybe they already start, some things are working out, some things are failing, etc. And based on what's working out and what the learning they're making, they're putting like, oh, let's document, let's put a new procedure in order to optimize and move faster as we move along. So probably those kind of rules, procedures, processes come into place in this stage as well.
100%. Yeah, it's very true. Thanks for this. And I see lots more. Trust enables people to share more openly. Very true. The roles are clearer. Yes. Similar to the Google high-performing team stages. Yeah, there is a lot of similar models, similar to the, norming, storming, performing model. Like they have similar stages, and some are overlapping or skipped.
I wonder also if some of the progress from 1 to 2 to 3 has to do with assumptions, the assumptions that folks have when they come into a space, and then that can be hard to, that can create resistance or conflict and can be hard to let go of. But once you move through that, then that helps you create a new understanding of what you're going to do and work together better.
Totally, yeah. And I think, we're going to look again into what you can do in those stages, but checking assumptions is a really good one to do in stage 2, to really just be like, okay, well, I thought X person is doing this, or I thought you were thinking this, but is that actually true? So yeah, definitely I'm working through it. That's why I was saying, if you make it through stage 2, it's already like a huge step, and it's very valuable. But you can't really skip it. Sometimes, yeah, maybe can I draw here? Like there is some groups that move more from in the inner circle, so close to the center, like really easily and smoothly. And also time-wise, like they take really little time to move from stage to stage. And then other groups who are moving more on the outside of the circle, where it takes more time and more work, which is also fine. But that, again, depends so much on the individuals on the team and on the kind of constellation. And both are fine. So just to wrap up the stage or summarize it, like you also already said, this is basically people getting a bit sick of all the fighting, and looking into how can we be more productive, learning a lot from that conflict and establishing a way of working, the processes, how we communicate, etc. And of course, they get to know each other more. So a bit more, what are the strengths and weaknesses in the room. You're more open about your role and what you're working towards to. And this is also a stage where people usually establish a bit of a North Star, so like a shared goal that they're really, all working towards to. And like it's more of this like, okay, we're in this working towards a shared goal. And groups in this stage can become a bit arrogant because, they just work through all this conflict. We managed, we're the best, we know we're doing this, we're great. So they're a bit in their own bubble, but this again can be a bit of a pitfall because, just because you made it to stage 3, it doesn't mean that you cannot again fall back into an earlier stage. And that can happen super easily when, for example, a new team member is joining, or somebody's leaving, or there's like a conflict, a bigger one arising. You can easily go back into an earlier stage because you need to maybe there's a gap that you didn't cover earlier, or dynamics change again. So not to be too proud of yourselves in that stage is also a good one to remember. And then we're almost at the last few stages. Stage 4 is high performance. So this is really where we're trusting each other, we're getting into nice flow of working, communication is better, we're kind of listening and taking feedback in. It's very clear what we're working towards to. So it's, like the name says, high performance and productive in a sense. But actually research shows that only 10% of group make it to this stage. So it's quite rare. And sometimes this also, the name kind of sounds a bit like, okay, this is the stage to be in, it's the best one. And it's all fun or like super, super nice, but that's sometimes the case, but not necessarily. High performing, or the stage of high performance, also just means that we're like quite direct, maybe fine with conflict, and we can handle it really well, but it's still there. We're quite open in our communications. So it's not always the funnest, but it's very productive. So it's just like one thing to keep in mind here. And then finally, last stage, as Susan calls it, termination, but we like to call it closure, so we changed the name a bit, just to be a bit more, I don't know, human. Termination sounds very like abrupt. That's when you end working together. So, for example, when a project ends, or when a certain task has been wrapped up. It can also be a workshop that you kind of worked on, and that is just being finished. And what's special about stage 5 is that you can get to stage 5 from any of the previous stages. So, from stage 2, there can easily be a moment when people are too frustrated and say like, okay, no, this is not working. We're gonna end here. So then we're going straight into stage 5. Same from any of the other stages. And this stage is super important to invest to. It's often forgotten. It's often the part where, we reflect and kind of look back, we still get feedback and wrap things up in a nice way. But this is where all the learning sit, and this is where we can really see how we can make our collaboration in the next time extra smooth, or like learn from what we brought together in a group. So also as a facilitator, really being aware to make space for that is super key. And I know there's been a lot of input in this chat coming in. I know this is been a bit of a presentation-y style, but I hope it's been giving you a good overview of those stages. And before we dive into a bit of a related exercise, I'm curious if you had any questions for now on these 5 stages. Is this clear? Any stage that you're still a bit uncertain about?
Lina, you've got the mic.
Yes, thank you. Well, I guess my question is, or it's very interesting that you said that only 10% of the groups reach stage number 4. And of course, organizations are changing constantly, and reorganizations happen like every so often. So how do you see this in reality, right? When you start with a stage number 1, and then the expectation is that you are already in stage number 3, like how do you navigate this linear approach in a non-linear reality most of the cases?
Wow, that's a great question. I would, well, argue that it's, on the one hand side, I like what you said around the expectation to be in a certain stage while, you know, somebody new just joined, like, so how are they supposed to immediately be 100%, or like the group to work 100%? So even kind of pushing back a bit on that would be one of the things that I would try, and like kind of, I mean, with a theory like this, just like elaborating a bit on like, okay, hey, like we're doing our best, but there has been new people here, so we need some time to like build that trust and structure and just like our collaboration to run smoothly. And then what can be really, I think, speeding up this process is, again, first of all, if people are aware of those stages, it's just a shared concept in people's minds. So it brings this like shared language of like, when conflict happens, it's fine. Like, oh, we're in stage 2. Like we're gonna work through this, but it's necessary. So it can really help people to put things a bit into perspective and work on it a bit more constructively. And especially when we're talking about new people joining, I think what can help a lot are like really smooth onboardings and like dedicated time to help people move through those like first 2 stages in an easy way, right? I hope that answers a bit.
Yes, thank you.
More question?
I also wonder now, because we're talking here from the perspective of a facilitator, but obviously teams or groups as well. So this can be, we can talk from the perspective of a leader, team leader, etc. If we are aware of the model, I think the model presents it very linearly, but in reality, it's more like a never-ending circle based on also what Rachel said. Is closure always the goal? I think the goal is always high performance. And then you will always, whatever the disruption comes, a new employee, a new platform, a new tool, anything can disrupt the stage 3 or 4 and push you back into the 1 or into the 2nd. And you can't, it's like a cyclical thing until it's not, until we're done. And I wonder if us as facilitators or as leaders, we, knowing the model, we have the tools to almost like engineer it. So I know that we're now in dependency and inclusion. How do I create the conditions for resistance, for conflict, for a bit of a friction to emerge so that I can speed up our evolution instead of letting it, we're in dependency now, so we're just going to wait for the conflict to arise from somewhere. Because I guess as a space holder, we'll also kind of like, how do we speed it up, right?
Yes.
With right tools.
Love this transition. This is exactly what I kind of wanted to highlight next, and do still as an exercise in the last 50 minutes that we have, talking about, what can we do in all of these stages? So what kind of exercises, or we call them interventions, can we use or put into groups to help them move through this stage, to help them progress to the next, or strengthen whatever is needed in that stage. So that's what I would love to still explore in some breakouts with you. I did put, let me see, a few examples just to make it clear. What we're looking for is exercises or small interventions that you can do in each of those stages to help the group move forward. So, for example, in stage 1, you could look into creating a social contract. So it's very facilitator language, but a contract of behaviors that we as a group, or your group, commits to live by. so that there's some shared rules and behaviors that everyone is committing to and like is encouraging in each other. Another example could be doing more check-ins and check-outs, kind of networky, connecty questions that really just help people to get to know each other, right? That's very straightforward in stage 1, but we want to explore it for each of the other stages as well. So what we're going to do is just a quick, I think, 9-minute breakout session.
I put 8 just because 8.
Say that again. 8? Okay.
Yeah. 8 just to add a bit of pressure and
bit of speed.
Conflict to the breakout groups.
Yes.
So they move quickly through stage 1 into the high performance.
Very good shout. Quick 8-minute breakout session where you'll be put in a group named with one of the stages. And I would love for you to just briefly discuss what you think you could do, and then write it on the post-its on the Miro board that will be broadcasted in your breakout. So anything that comes to mind that could help, of course, all the contexts are different, but anything goes, drop it on there. You can also put some links of exercises if that helps. But in that way, we can create a bit of a collected overview.
All right.
Makes sense?
So we've got 8 minutes. There are 5 groups. Each group is assigned through the breakouts one of the stages. We'll all be working in the same Miro board, which will be waiting for you in the breakout rooms. Look at your room, find the area on the board, brainstorm activities, and we'll meet back in 8 minutes. Have fun. If there's anything in the breakout room, find the hand icon, hit it, and Kat and I will be joining you for whatever questions you have. See you back in 8. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Lena, where are you tuning in from?
Rotterdam.
Way, you're super close to me and Kat.
Yes, I thought this event was going to be in person, and I only discovered it yesterday. And I was like, shall I go? But then I figured out it was online, and I was like, yes.
Yeah, we should host another in person. Good shout. Welcome back, everyone. It's been a speedy one. I see that you added lots of great post-its on the different stages. I wanted to have more time to discuss this with you, but as usual, time is super short. So I'm just gonna check if there was in any group like a big question or like something that really was unclear that we can still bring up into the room.
I would just say that I think that particularly the resistance, I don't know, the resistance one, which happened to be the one that Julia and I were randomly assigned to, is the one that makes me most nervous. And I could imagine a whole thought sharing. I would love to group
deep
share
dive
with the group just on that.
Yeah, of course, because navigating or hosting conflict in a way is of course a delicate kind of state to deal with. So I understand that. I also still added a few extra post-its from my end. Maybe good input or on your end, Marisa, to host another session with a deep dive into this. So maybe we can do that. But just to respect your time, I would say feel free to continue to input on this board. I think we can learn a lot and get inspired from another what we can bring into these different stages. I'll for sure also share with you the deck that I used in this session. And I have just a few super quick last slides with a tiny bit of inspiration. So we call it the World of Work impulse. Just some things that we have really seen work well throughout groups. Is kind of establishing a bit of a team rhythm. For example, every Friday having dedicated sessions with the team, share reflections or sharing knowledge or sharing feedback or having more of a freestyle gathering for connection or anything you want, but making time for that in any stage of the group circle, this is super beneficial, and it already weaves in some of the things that keep a group healthy. Especially for stage 1, maybe you've seen this around. We've developed this onboarding tool. It's called the High Five Me tool. We'll share it with you, and it's also already on the board. It's a Miro template, so you can bring it to your team, and it really brings this kind of holistic, who am I as a person entering this team, and creates a space for conversation on a bit of a more human level instead of just skills and what we bring on that level. We also launched our Mischief Meeting Moments platform in the beginning of the year. So it's a website that you can check out, also linked on the Miro board. Lots of questions for check-in and check-out, and it's really based on creating more connections. Again, because we believe that the connections are what makes us work better together and have better dynamics in a group. Because if we're having fun and understand each other, then we do our best work. So top 3 tips from my end. That's a wrap. Just on the dot, or no, now it's on 1 minute beyond. But thank you so much for joining. And just to say, if you're hungry for more, our facilitation course that a couple of the faces here in the room have joined before, including Anna Maria. So it's kicking off in 2 weeks, and we have 2 spots left. And everyone from the Butter community gets a nice little 15% discount on this course. So if you're interested, check it out or contact me. It's an 8-week course. I'm not going to tell you a whole lot more about it, but you can find it on our website or through me. Feel free to reach out to me directly. We can jump on a call. And for more mischief, follow us on LinkedIn or Instagram. And wrapping it up with this thought again of like, you're the facilitators. So every time people are coming together is an opportunity to facilitate connection, collaboration, and a culture to really refuel. So I hope you can all take on this hat of future of work architects in the future, and shape the way that we work and collaborate together. And with that, a super quick checkout. Which of these activities would you like to try out with your team in the future? Wow, all the sound effects.
Everything for you. Thank you, Kat, for hosting and for introducing us to the good old Susan and her 5 stages. And thanks everyone for putting your brains together to come up with all of the interventions. I'll follow up on an email as per usual with the Miro board, the recording, and all the resources shared by Kat. I'm going to do a quick shout out here to Lena. If you can stay on a call to plot changing the world, or drop me your email, because I don't miss an opportunity to get folks in the spotlight so we can all learn from one another. So since you've nicely raised your hands, I'll take that. Enjoy the rest of your day wherever in the world you are, and join us next Tuesday because Vesna is here and she's hosting a sandbox, and really excited about it. And let me pop that link in the chat for everyone. Mission Earth, co-creating our sustainable future. She's testing out a co-creation model for the awesome work she's doing on green agriculture. Right, Vesna? There we go. Okay, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much, Kat, and stay awesome. And don't hate, facilitate.
Exactly. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Lovely to see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.